welcome to the Anxiety Club. We are thrilled to have you here, but we're also very nervous because we are anxious. Hello, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for being here. That was super sweet of you, and welcome back to another episode of Makeup and Mental Health. If you are new to my channel, hi, hello, welcome. I'm so happy to have you. Makeup and Mental Health is a series that I do on my channel where I, of course, do my makeup, and I also talk about varying mental health issues, usually whatever is weighing on my soul, whatever I need to get off my chest. They're kind of like a therapy session for me that you get to watch. I used to do them every Wednesday. I haven't been doing them as often anymore just because, honestly, putting that pressure on myself to do them every single week was not helping my mental health, and putting more pressure on me, which in turn was making me anxious. Can you relate to this feeling? Sometimes talking about your mental health is helpful for your mental health. It makes you feel better, and other times it's not. Other times I just need to do like silly makeup videos, and that's better for my mental health. So I think going forward, I'm probably just gonna do makeup and mental health videos whenever I feel like it, probably around once a month, but definitely subscribe so you don't miss them when they do come. And this week we are gonna be talking about my anxiety, as we often do. Hi, hello, my name is Giovanna. I have anxiety, as does, I feel like, the whole world, because the world is on fire and we are in it. But I am obviously getting through it, so I'm gonna try to share with you what I've been doing to cope with anxiety. Oh, I also wanted to update you guys on my experience with online therapy, because that's what my last makeup and mental health video was about. We're gonna get into all of it. Sometimes I accidentally do this and it doesn't look cool, but it's already happened, so there's nothing we can do about it. So if you want to talk about anxiety and watch me do a cute little makeup look, then I encourage you to please subscribe and keep on watching, because it's coming at you right now. So I don't talk about the makeup too much in these videos just because it's hard for me to focus on more than one thing at a time, but I am going to be using the by Mel Labs Radioactive palette, as I do like every day because it's great, but I will have everything I'm wearing listed down below, so in case you really like something, you can go check it out. So as I mentioned in the intro, I was attempting online therapy. Online therapy is really the only option here in New York right now. We're still very much in the middle of coronavirus. New York is doing better, but we're not fully there yet. So during quarantine, I realized that my anxiety is starting to get pretty bad again. I felt like there was a while where it wasn't so bad. Here's the deal. Anxiety never goes away. It just goes dormant sometimes. And even then, I don't think it ever fully goes dormant. I just think you get distracted, so the anxiety is a little quieter. But I feel like if you have anxiety, like, it's always gonna be there, and you can find coping mechanisms and you can find ways to make it feel less loud, but it's always there. So of course I always say in my head, I'm like, oh, I don't feel like my anxiety was this bad before, but like really I was probably just distracted by something else going on in my life. But as you're all probably familiar, when quarantine came around, all of those distractions kind of went away since we were stuck in the house. So I feel like I was left to deal with a lot of my like push down anxieties that normally I could just like fill the void with like going out to coffee shops and bars and museums and doing fun stuff around the city. But like now that I'm stuck inside, I am left to deal with my crippling anxiety. But yeah, so I started using Talkspace. Talkspace is an online therapy app. I hadn't heard of it before. Have you guys heard of BetterHelp? It's like BetterHelp. It's the same idea where they match you with a licensed therapist and you basically you message each other back and forth. There is an option to do video calls. I was never fully clear on how to do that. I also was not sure I wanted to do that. As I mentioned, crippling anxiety. I don't like video calls unless it's with my mom. Everybody else makes me nervous on video calls. I wasn't sure that's what I wanted to do, but that never even became a problem because I quit the app. I quit online therapy. I'm sorry to disappoint you all. No one's disappointed. I'm projecting. You're not disappointed. You don't care. You're not invested in this. This is purely a me thing. So I decided to quit Talkspace, and that is because I felt like they were scamming me for my money and not giving me any actual mental health help. I don't think they were actually trying to scam me, but like it did feel like a scam. So the first therapist that I had on Talkspace was fine. She was very pleasant. You know, she clearly was a therapist who was licensed, but I just felt like she wasn't listening to me. And I say felt like she wasn't listening to me. I know she wasn't listening to me because I would say make multiple points in my messages. I was trying to utilize this messaging the best that I could. So I would send like 5-paragraph essays. You know, that's just the way I am. I'm a writer. I like to write stuff. Check out my blog if you like writing. Sorry, shameless plug. But I love writing, so I would like write her really long messages, and she would only respond to like one part, which would be fine if it was like a detailed full response, but it wasn't. I would say like, I really want to establish boundaries with this person, and she would be like, yes, we can do that. Okay, how? It was like the equivalent of somebody just texting you back, K. What can you say after that, you know? Like, she would just give me these responses that I couldn't respond to. And so I switched therapists, because you could do that in Talkspace. They gave you an option to switch therapists for free. So I was like, you know what? If I have the option, I'm gonna do it. And I switched to a therapist who, when we first started, I was like, yes, this is definitely gonna be better, because she was sending me really long messages for like her first 2 messages. And then the issue I had with this therapist is that she would only reply to me like once a day, and they only work 5 days a week, you know, a regular work week. They have 2 days off. Her days off were the weekend, but she would reply to me like maybe twice a week if I was lucky. And it was just like one response, and her responses were like long, but they were more so filled with like questions. They were like, we see that you're concerned about this thing, like tell me more about that. And then I would tell her more, and then like days go by before a response. And it's just like, when you're talking about something that is a product of your anxiety, that is currently making you anxious, you want somebody to answer you right away. And I get it, it's a messaging thing, so like you're not gonna get that instant response that you would get in like an in-person therapy session, but I expected it to be a little quicker, you know, like a little timely, especially when it's days that they're supposed to be working. And it's not like I'm over here texting her at 9:30 p.m. Like, I would text her during regular business hours. I would text her at like 11 a.m. or like 2 p.m., you know? So I just felt like nothing was happening. I felt like I was basically journaling and paying them $200 for me to journal publicly in a message board. It was so expensive, and I got a discount on it. They did like a discount for when you first started, but it was so unbelievably expensive. I actually messaged Talkspace and I was like, hey, can I like get some money back? Because my one therapist took literally days to respond to me. I got like 3 responses from her total, and the other therapist like straight up was not listening to me. Like, I feel like this was such a waste of money. I feel like you took $200 away from me and I gained nothing in return. And honestly, it had a negative effect on my mental health, because I felt like I wasn't being listened to, and I felt like there was no hope for me in this situation. And of course, Talkspace didn't respond. And when I canceled my account, they were like, oh, where are you going? Do you want $100 off? And I was like, screw you, I don't want $100 off. You could have given me that before. You never answered me. It's just such a frustrating situation. I'm not gonna harp on it too longer, because I've already quit and I don't have to pay for it again. And I am going to move forward to better opportunities. So yeah, let's move on from that topic. But I just wanted to update you guys, because I don't want you to go out and get Talkspace and then have the same experience as me. And maybe you won't have the same experience as me. And I could have switched therapists again, but I had already switched once, and you're supposed to try to give them a little bit of a chance. But because this last lady was just taking so long to answer me, it was just like, it was at the end of my monthly subscription. I was already at the end of the amount I wanted to spend. So I don't know. I think Talkspace is a risk. I think that if they could improve one thing, it would be maybe like a 2-week free trial before you decide if you really want to spend $200, and also like maybe an interview period that you could do with your therapist. I don't know. I just felt like they needed a better way to make sure your therapist was a good match for you, and maybe a free trial period. But Talkspace was a 0 out of 10 for me. Absolutely would not recommend. If you have any recommendations for better online therapy apps, or if you've ever used like BetterHelp or anything, I would love to hear from you, because I want to make online therapy work, because I'm such a huge advocate for therapy. I love therapy so much, and I hate when you don't have a good match with a therapist, because I think it discourages so many people from pursuing therapy because they have a bad experience. I'm not going to do this, because I've had good experiences before, and I know that when you find a good connection with a therapist, it's like fantastic. So I am going to keep pursuing online therapy. Please send any resources that you have. Okay, so now I want to talk about what I've been doing to deal with my anxiety in the meantime, since clearly Talkspace was not helping me at all in that category. So what I've been doing lately, and not a licensed therapist, not in any position to be telling you that this is a good way to cope with anxiety. I'm just telling you what has helped me personally as an INFP, as a Virgo, as a 25-year-old lady living in a big city. I was thinking about an interview I watched with Bill Hader a couple years ago. Do you guys know Bill Hader? Yeah, you know who Bill Hader is. He was on SNL. He's a very funny man. He did an interview for some sort of mental health awareness thing a couple years ago. He talked about how he has crippling anxiety, which I was like, what? How does he have crippling anxiety and like act that natural on stage? I don't know. But he said that the way that he deals with his anxiety is to treat it like I'm probably quoting it wrong, but to treat your anxiety like he's like a little buddy that sits on your shoulder. Treat your anxiety like it's an actual entity that you can speak to. And so he said before he would be going on stage and he would feel like his heart start to race and like get really anxious and hear all of these like negative thoughts in his head, he would say to his little buddy, he would say, okay, yes, I know you're nervous. Okay, cool. We're gonna do it anyways though. And he would actually like, I don't know if he would speak out loud, but he would actually address his anxiety as if it were a person. And I was like, oh, okay, like maybe I'll try that. So for the past few days, I've been trying to use that technique. So basically I've started bullying my anxiety. I've never been a bully before. I'm a very sweet girl, but I've started bullying my anxiety and I have to say, it feels good. You shouldn't bully anyone, but you should bully your anxiety because she's rude and she's mean and she needs to be put in her place. So basically, when I have an anxious thought or when I hear those voices in my head start to tell me that I'm stupid or that I'm not able to achieve a goal because I am stupid, I've gotten into a habit of saying either out loud or in my head, hey, knock it off. That's not okay, you're wrong, you're stupid, and you're mean, and I don't have to listen to you. And I know it sounds really silly, but it's been helping to treat my anxiety like she's just a dumb bully and I don't have to listen to her. I was having an anxious thought the other day and I was like, oh, this person said this to you because they don't like you and they think that you're stupid. And I was like, wait a minute, anxiety, where did you develop that thought from? What is that? How did you come to that conclusion? And my anxiety's always like, and I'm like, yeah, you don't have a conclusion because you just made that up out of thin air to make me anxious because that's your whole vibe. And then she gets nervous and she gets embarrassed and she goes away for a little bit. So I found that that's been really helpful. To try to take your anxious thoughts a little further, try to delve into them and figure out why they're happening and not just feed into them, because I think it's really easy to feed into an anxious thought. You have the thought that says, this person doesn't like you. And it's really easy to go, yeah, you're right. They don't like you because of this small moment. That must have been the small moment where I figured out that they didn't like me. And instead say, no, they do like me. And that small moment doesn't mean anything. And that's not enough supporting evidence for me to believe what you're saying. Ugh, this all sounds so confusing. I'm sorry if I'm explaining it poorly. It's the easiest way to explain it is that I'm bullying my anxiety and that I'm just really mean to her. You don't have to be nice to your anxious thoughts. You have to be nice to yourself. It is hard for me to sometimes stand up for myself in person, and I think a good way to start working on that is to stand up to my anxious thoughts. It's basically anytime I'm intimidated by an authority figure in person, it's because they are making me anxious. So I feel like if I can continue working on addressing my anxious thoughts, then maybe someday I can address authority figures who are rude to me. Just an idea, just a thought, just something I'm trying to do. Another way that I've been dealing with my anxiety is by listening to folklore, because Taylor Swift wrote that album specifically for me. No, but listening to music has been really good for my anxiety. I understand that folklore was not written specifically for me, but music is good for listening to anxiety, especially when you find an album that really hits you right here. That was my heart. Is that where the heart is? You know, when you find an album that hits you right in the feels, sometimes it can just be good to play it and cry for a while. I found it to be very cathartic. I have gotten more catharsis out of listening to folklore than I have from any of my Talkspace therapists, so I will be sending an invoice to Taylor Swift for me to pay her because she is my therapist now. Yeah, that makes sense. That all adds up. Listening to music can be very good for anxiety, though. I think that shouldn't, even though I'm saying it in a silly way and it's like I'm being facetious and exaggerating and being dramatic as usual, but I really do think there is a lot of validity to listening to music, especially music that hits you in your little heartstrings. And I think that it can sometimes help you put things into words that you couldn't before. And I think that's what's so beautiful about music, is that artists take feelings that you could not put words to, and they put words to them, and then they also put music to them. So they make you feel good and they make you want to dance, and sometimes they make you want to cry, but in the end it's always okay. And then you listen to the album again and you do it all over again. Tell me what your favorite song on Folklore is, and if it's not Illicit Affairs, you're wrong. I'm just kidding. All of the songs are really good. I love a lot of them, but Illicit Affairs is the best song on the album. August is really good too. Illicit Affairs and August are probably tied for me. Alright, that is it for me today, you guys. I am sorry I did finish my makeup off camera. I talk so much while I'm doing my eyes, and then I don't want you to leave because I'm talking too much. But that's it for me today. That's what I've been currently doing to deal with my anxiety. The thing about anxiety is that your method for dealing with it is going to change so much throughout your life. It's already changed from like how I was dealing with it 3 months ago. You have to deal with different anxieties in different ways. It's a lifelong journey. And once you come to accept that it's here and that it's not going to go away, and you focus more on ways to deal with it, I think it definitely does get better. The first step of dealing with anxiety is to acknowledge that you have it and that it's okay. Welcome to the Anxiety Club. We are thrilled to have you here, but we're also very nervous because we are anxious. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you like it, please like and subscribe. Like I said, I think I'll probably be doing these makeup and mental health videos maybe once or twice a month, unless you really, really like it and you demand that I make more. Basically, I'll do whatever you guys want. I thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure to check out the description box so you can learn about all the products I'm wearing on my face today. Also, I have a ton of Black Lives Matter resources down there, so you can check out petitions to sign, places to donate, and ways to help protesters. Please make sure you are staying involved on what is going on in your country and helping in any way that you can. I thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you on my next one. Bye!